Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to start a new mini-series about Laravel API Resources. For that I have created this fresh Laravel 9 project, so Laravel version 9.7, and if you go to the Laravel documentation and search for the API resources, here we have the documentation for API. We can create a resource by saying PHP artisan make resource and give it a name. If we want a collection, we can say PHP artisan make resource, the name and the flag -- collection, or just by adding the user and collection under the name. Okay, so in this project I have created a post model and migration, and also I have added 10 posts, 10 fake posts here. And when we go to the post, now we just have this default Laravel welcome page. Now to use with resources, I'm going to use the Insomnia. You also can use the Postman, or you have some Chrome extension, but I'm going to use the Insomnia. So let's open the Insomnia here. And in the roads of our project, we need to make some changes. So here we say road get and return the view. I'm going to return the API resource here. Okay, first I'm going to get the first post. So the assigned post is going to be with the post model. Make sure you import the post here. And I'm going to say find or fail the post with ID 1 right now. I'm going to hard code that. And now when we return, I'm going to return. And now to return the resource, we need to create that resource. So in the terminal, so here I'm going to return the resource, but we don't have that. So let's go and create. In the terminal, I am inside the API resources. So let's say artisan make resource. Okay, so artisan make a resource and the username, the name of the resource, in this case is post resource. Hit enter. Okay, now the resource is created, and if you go in the app directory, http, and we have resources here, and we have the post resource, and this is returning the default an array. Here's how we can serialize the object. In this case, it's going to return all the fields, but after that, I'm going to show you how to modify. And with this post resource, now I'm going to return that. So let's say new, and this post resource, so call that post resource. And in here, I'm going to add the post we have. Okay. Now, if I go to the project and refresh, here it is, the resource. But let me open the Insomnia, and I'm going to copy this URL, paste to the Insomnia, and make a GET request. So send, and here it is the data. Just let me zoom in this one. Okay, now I think we are okay. So here we have the data, which is wrapped this object, which is the post. We have the ID, the title, the body, and the created at and updated at. Okay, so now let's go and modify the resource. Here we return the parent array, but let's serialize what we need here. So let's say I'm going to return only the ID of this post, and we say here $sign this and ID. If I first we need to add a semicolon here, save, and make a send a get request here. And you see here now we have only the ID, which is 1. Now let's say in the web routes we accept the ID okay, and here let's add that ID here, $sign ID. Let's save it, come here and add the ID2 now, send, and we have the ID2. You see here? Let's get and also display the title. So let's come here to the post resource and say title $sign this title. Now we have all the properties of this post to this keyword. Okay, let's save this one now and try again. Now we expect to have the ID and also the title. Let's say send, and now we have the ID2 and the title, which is this one. If I say ID3, click send, and we have the ID3 and the title is changed. Let's say we need also to add the body. Say $sign this body. Okay, make get request, and here we have the body. Let's say we need the created at. So let's say created at $sign this created at, and let's save it. Come here and click send request, and here it is, the created at timestamp. Okay, now if you want to change, so for example you don't want to show the ID, but you maybe, so let's say just post ID. Okay, and come here and say send, and now we have post ID in here. Okay friends, that's it. The intro for the API resources with Laravel is very easy and is very useful if you work with Vue.js or React or any JavaScript library, and you have an API to get the data, and the Laravel is sending to you how you want. And also here we have you have some examples. So created at, updated at, also you can add links. So here is the data, and it's get all the collection and also the links. For that is wrap this in the data, because if we have also the links, it's coming down there. And you can go and look to the Laravel documentation for more details, and I'm going to create another video for this as well. So also if you are in the user and the user has posts, so the user has relationship, here we have posts, and is called in the post resource collection, and this post, this is the user post. Okay, so take a look to this documentation for more. Hope you enjoy, and see you in the next video, friends. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. So in this video again, I'm going to work with the API resources. And if I go to the Insomnia, here we have the get resource for this specific ID, and we get all the data of that post. So post ID, title, body, and created that. And this is coming from the post resource. So what we added here. Now let me go to the web routes. And here I'm going to copy this and create one more. And display here all the posts. So post all. And let me say here posts. And now instead of saying new post, I'm going to say post resource. And static method of collection. And here add all the posts. Let's save this one. And now go to the Insomnia. Make a send request. And now we have all the posts with this data we added here. So if we make a change here, so here we have a post ID. Let's remove this one, save it, send data, and now we have ID. Let's remove the created ad and also the body. And yeah, now we have the ID and title, not much more. Okay, let me do one more thing. If I open the posts table, here I'm going to add also the user ID, so $table, and I'm going to say unsigned big integer for the user ID. Let's save this one and also open the post factory. And here I'm going to say user ID is going to be 1, because I think we have only one user here. So let's open the database. Oh, we don't have any user. So let's create also one user and user ID 1. Let's save this one and go to the user factory. Go to the seeder and copy this one and say here user and create one user. Okay, let's save this one, and now in the terminal I'm going to run artisan migrate fresh seed. Okay, and if I come here, yeah, we have a user, and in the post the user ID is 1. Okay, now the idea is to get to display also the user here. So one method, one way is to add the user ID, and you can say here this, and we need the relationship. So I'm going to create that relationship, this user ID. Let's save this one and open the post model and make a function user and say $sign return $sign this belong to the user class. Let's save this one and go to the Insomnia, make a get request, and now we have the user ID, which is 1. Okay. Let me go to the post and change the user ID to this one to be 2. Make a get request. And now we have an error because we don't have that user. Yeah, now we have that. Okay. This is one way, but here we just get all the posts and we not have posts with a relationship, so posts with user. But also I want to show you if I make again one more resource for the user. So artisan make resource user resource. Okay, that open that user resource. And let's return now the same thing. So here I'm going to return the ID. And let's say $sign this ID. The name, $sign this name, and the email is going to be $sign this email. Okay, let's save this one. And now in the post resource, instead of saying something like this, let's say just user and say new and user resource. And here we add this user. Okay, let's save it. Let's go to the Insomnia and refresh. And now here we have the user object. Inside the data, we have the post object. And inside the post object, we have the user object. And here we have only the ID, email, and the name. That's we added here. Okay, friends, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoy and see you in the next one. All the best. Hello, friends, welcome. So here we get all the posts with the related user, and that's okay. Also, if we go to the /1, we get the single post with the user. But I want to do the same thing for the user. So when we go to the user /1, get the user with all the posts. But if I do this, how we have done right now with the post, so let's leave it here. And in the post resource, we call user new user resource, this user, because here we have belong to, so we have a single user. Now in the user resource, we need to say posts, and we don't have that method, so we need to create that. And here we need to call the post resource collection. Post resource collection, because we have multiple posts, and $sign this post. posts. Okay, so here we have plural. For that, we need to call the collection and go to the user and make that method relationship. So function post and say return $ this has many posts. Okay, post class. But with that, okay, with that now we have made infinity loop in the resource. So in the user resource, we call the post resource collection. So we get all the posts this user has, but when we go to the post, so when we call this, also this call again the user, and this user call again the post, and is going to get an infinity loop. So let's go and make a get request here, and it's going to take a long time and it's going to break. Okay, okay. Yeah, now it's going to break. So for that, we need to make some, eager loading. So first here in the post, I'm going to say this when loaded the post relationship. And if I call this one and make, now we have the user, and in the user, we don't have the post because we don't have the relationship, the loaded the post here. So here just we call user and this user. Okay, that's okay. Now if I go to the web routes and create a new route here, so let's copy this one and say here user/1. Now this one we need to make user, also user find or fail that ID. Make sure you import the user model and not return new post resource, but new user resource, and add the user here. Okay, good. Let's go now to the /user/1 and make get request here. And also here we have ID, name, and email. Now here I'm going to say get me with posts, and now we have all the posts. But you see here also in the posts we have the post which has ID, title, and also we have the user. So we load again the user, which is this user, and to the second one, because in the post resource we have user and return this user. And also the same thing I'm going to say here. When loaded the user. Let's save it and send. Now we have all the posts, but just the ID and title. And when we go here, also the ID and title. Because if we go here, we have all the posts, but I'm going to say post with user get. Okay, let's save it and let's make a send request. Now in here we have all the posts with a related user, but if we go to the user one, we have all the posts without the user. And it's going to load perfectly, okay? So here we have the user without the posts. And here we have the posts with the user. Now if I go to a single post, we have only that post with ID and title. And also here, if we want to say with user, save it, and we get the user. Okay, friends, hope you enjoyed this one. And if you like content like this, subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello, friends, welcome. So in the previous video, we added the post to the user and we add eager loading. But in this video, I'm going to hide the email if the user is not admin. If the user is admin, it's going to display the email to the user resource. Okay, for that, so I have added in the users table the isAdmin column, and by default is 0. And I have created two users. So one is this one, which the ID one has isAdmin to 0 and ID 2 isAdmin to 1. So the ID 2 has isAdmin. And in the database seeder, I created one user like this, another one I set isAdmin to 1, and also created 10 posts. All the posts has the user ID 1. So I'm going to change to this to be 2 and also to this one, just in case to see. Okay. Now, if you go to the user resource, here we just say this email, but I'm going to say this when this, not request, $sign this when is admin. So when this is admin, I'm going to display this email, $sign this email, just like this. Save it, go to the Insomnia, and you see here now the user ID is 2, is 1, sorry. So we added here 1, and we don't see the email, just the ID and the name. And also if you go to the post, you see here we have the ID and the name of the user. Also, if we go to the single post, the same thing, because we hide in the user resource. Now, if the user is true, so let's say user/2. Now the user with ID 2 is admin. User with ID 2 is admin is 1. And in the user resource, we say if when the user is admin. So this is true and it's going to display that. So in the Insomnia, make send. And yeah, we have the email right now. Okay. And that's it for if you want to hide or show any secret data in the resources, API resources. That's it for this small video, just to show this tip. If you have anything, you can comment in one of my videos, and I'm going to do my best to create another video with your needs. Hope you enjoy, friends, and see you in the next one. All the best.